Hello students, today we will discuss about database management system, it means DBMS. Coming to our final year, we have two papers. One is DBMS and the second one is software engineering. Here database management system is paper 5 and software engineering is paper 6. In previous semesters, we discussed and we learned various programming languages, C, Java, data structures with Java, etc. Now, in this session, I will explain you the introduction about DBMS. Database management system is a backend software application. So, what is backend software application? For example, when you join in this college, first of all, we fill an application form to get admission. Okay. In this application form, it contains your name and your father name, biodata, etc. After filling this application form, college prepares admission record. Admission record. In this admission record, we maintain all of the particulars which are used for university purpose. What is the purpose of this admission record? After completion of your course, we will produce you TC, CC, SC, etc. So, here you remember one thing, when you are getting admission in this college, a prescribed format is there, what the information required by the college or university, and that the same information is produced in a prescribed way in admission record permanently. So, after completion of your course, another reports will be generated, that is TC, CC and SC. Here, in this example, what is a backend? Your admission record is backend. It means we maintain data which is used for our admission purpose and university purpose in a prescribed format. This is called as a backend. Entire data is produced in a particular format in this admission record. This is called as a backend. So finally, a backend software application is used to maintain data in a particular format and way. What is the purpose of a backend? After completion, various reports will be generated. For getting that reports, data is transferred from this admission record. Okay. So here, admission record, it is a backend, and your application form and the reports which are produced from the college are called as a front end. Front end. So here, database management system is a backend software application, and it maintains data very accurately and in an abstract way. Finally, it produces a extraordinary security to the valuable data. So let us start our introduction to the DBMS. A basic terminology has to be practiced before getting into DBMS. That is data, field, record, table database and DBMS. You should be familiar with these definitions. After that only you can easily be understood what is a DBMS and what are the tasks and what are the activities to be performed in DBMS. Okay. Now, what is a data? Data is nothing but raw facts or nouns. Raw facts or nouns. For example, Ashok, BSc, Computer Science, these are all nouns. Nouns are nothing but the names of the things. Okay. So, raw facts or nouns can be called as data. And what is meant by field? Homogeneous data is called as field. Homogeneous data is called field. What is meant by homogeneous? A particular set of data items which have the same relation is called as homogeneous. So let me explain. Student name here Ashok, Ravi, Shrinu. Here these are all data items. That means data Ashok, Ravi, Shrinu. These three data items have a particular relation. What is the relation? These are the people which are called as students. So these set of students are homogeneous, have the same relation. So here student name is a field. Student name is a field. And the next one is here course. Okay. BSc, BCom, BA. Okay, here BSc, BCom and BA. These are data items which have the same relation. What is the relation? These are all courses. So, it is a homogeneous relation. So, that's why course is a field. Student name is a field and course is a field. And next, what is a record? Combination of fields is called as records. Here student name is a field and course is a field. Okay, and next take one row Ashok, BSc. So here I combined two fields, that is Ashok and BSc. This is called as a record. Record 1. And next, Ravi, BCom. This is also called as one record. Shrinu. This is another record. Okay. Here, combination of fields is called as records. Okay. Now, what is a table? Combination of records is called as a table. Now, Ashok, BSc, this is record 1, record 2 and record 3. Just combine these three records. It is called as a table. Okay. And what about database? Combination of two or more tables are called as database. combination of two or more tables is called as database. Here, this is a student table. We can imagine another table, that is faculty, which they take classes for particular these courses. So that table also contains faculty name and the faculty specialization and faculty code, mobile number, etc. When you combine these two tables, then it is called as a database, college database. Okay. So here database is generated from field, record, table. Okay. Now, what is meant by DBMS? A systematic approach to manage our database. A systematic approach to manage our database is called as DBMS. What is meant by approach? How to create these tables and how to insert records into the table, how to edit the records, and how can we get the information from the records. So what type of commands we need. So that bunch of commands and that bunch of properties will be provided in DBMS. So finally DBMS provides a few commands and properties and features to us to manipulate various tables. Okay, so that is the purpose of DBMS. Okay, now further in few chapters we have another names for fields, records and tables. Take field. Field is also called as attribute. Field is also called as attribute. Record is also called as tuple. Table is also called as entity. Database is also called as entity set. Field can be called as attribute. Record is also called as a tuple. Table is also called as entity. Database is also called as entity set. Now, another definition is metadata or data dictionary. Metadata or data dictionary. Data about data is called metadata. Data about data is called as metadata. Another definition is there. Characteristics of data is also called as metadata. So metadata or data dictionary means data about data or characteristics of data is called as metadata or data dictionary. Okay, let me explain this definition with an example. Programming, I declared an integer variable a. Again, I initialize value of 2 to a. Now, how can we identify metadata or data dictionary of variable a? According to data types concept, an integer variable a occupies 2 bytes of memory, and it has a range. Range is depend upon unsigned integer or signed integer. Next, location or storage. Location or storage. Normally, variables are stored in RAM. Okay. Value of variable is a is 2. Okay. And next, the characteristics of variable a is 2 bytes, range, and storage location. Okay. This is data, and this is called as metadata. This is called as metadata. Characteristics of data is called as metadata. So what are the characteristics of variable a? A occupies 2 bytes of memory, and it has a range, and the location or storage of the variable a is RAM. This is called as metadata or data dictionary. Okay, this is in C programming. Now, in DBMS, student name, course, fee. Another field is the student ID. Okay, these are the 4 fields, and values of the fields are student ID 1001, student name Ashok, and he is pursuing a course of BSc, and he paid approximately 11,000 rupees as fee. Now, 1002 Ravi, he is of BCom, and he paid 8,000 rupees as a tuition fee. Next, 1003 Siva, he is BSc course, BA course, and he paid 7,000 as a tuition fee. Okay, now here there are 4 fields, and again, how many records? 3. There are 3 records. Okay, this is field 1, field 2, field 3, field 4. And this is record 1, record 2, record 3. Combination of fields are called as records, and combination of records is called as table. Now, in this, how can we define or identify metadata? Take student ID. Student ID is an integer. Integer also called as a number. Student name is a string, that is a characters. Course is also string, and tuition fee is a number on float format. Decimal values are there. So data of student ID is 1001, 1002, 1003, and characteristics of data of student ID is integer or number. So here metadata explains you what type of data is stored in field. Here student name is string, and again course is also string. So the type of data is string. So metadata or data dictionary gives you information about the data. Fees is a float type data. In DBMS, we will learn about constraints. A new word is there, constraints. What is meant by constraints? Constraints means rule or restriction. Rule or restriction. Here, what is the rule to student ID? Student ID should be unique for each and every student. What is meant by uniqueness? No student have a duplicate student ID. Take Ashok and Ravi. These two students have their IDs as unique. No duplicate student ID is issued to two or more students. Okay. That is what we call as uniqueness. So we have to follow a rule, uniqueness to student ID field. And next, student name. Student name should not contain numbers. No person have numbers or digits in his name. And the next course is also like as a student name. Now, fee. Coming to fee, a prescribed fee is allocated to particular course. No need to pay maximum extents of the fees to particular student. For example, I define 11,000 to BSc course. No student need to pay more than 11,000, and we no need to enter 12,000 or 11,001 rupees into student fee field. And again, minus values are also there. So here fees is a range from 0 to 11,000 only. That is the restriction to student fee. Like that, so many examples are there for rules or restrictions. I conducted one examination or unit examinations for particular batch of students, that is computer science like DBMS, for 50 marks. 50 is the maximum mark. Okay, each and every student may get up to 50 marks only. Okay, while entering or posting the marks into the table, there is no possibility to enter 51 marks to particular student. Even he prepared or wrote a well examination, and we should not give -1 marks to the students. Okay, any student which appeared in a particular examination can get only from 0 to 50 marks only. That is a range and also called as restriction, rule or restriction. And also take an example of date. No student, there is no possibility to join a particular student in tomorrow. So admission date should be on or before today. That is the rule or restriction. Okay, here rules or restrictions are called as constraints. In later classes, I will explain you about the constraint. There are so many constraints are there: primary key constraints, foreign key, etc., etc., unique and valid, so on so. Okay, so here in this table, when you apply any constraint to particular field, that constraint or rule is applied to that particular field, and when you entering data into that field, the rule or restriction will be activated. So it is not possible to enter wrong values into particular fields. Okay. Next, centralized versus decentralized. What do you mean by centralized and decentralized? In olden days, an organization maintains a different activities manually without interfering any computer. For example, take a college system. Here, college is there. Decentralization. College has reception, class, student, faculty, transport, games. These are various entities of college. Entities means sections, subsections. Reception maintains the admission particulars of students, and the class maintains about the classes, timetables, etc. And student entity maintains the biodata of the students. And next, faculty entity contains the information about the faculties, that is faculty name and specialization, his mobile number, qualification, experience, the particular salary he is drawing from the college, that type of information is maintained to faculty. And transportation, how many types of buses are existed in particular college, and location, route maps, bus numbers, drivers information, entire things are maintained in transport. And games entity maintains about the game particulars, how many students are participating in various games and what type of games are conducted in particular college, so etc. maintained in games. These are all various entities existed in college. So coming to decentralization process, there is no computer. Every task and every procedure and every transaction is maintained manually. It was done in olden days. Okay. When you contact or visit reception, it gives information only about the admission particulars. And when you visit a class entity, it gives information about the class only. And again another one is there, library. Library is used to get information about the books and subscriptions. Here the main problem about decentralization is no entire information is existed at one entity. We cannot get information about the library in reception, we cannot get information about the transport in library, and we cannot get information of students in faculty. So each entity maintains their own data. So they are not interfering in others' data. That's why if any person visited to the college, so he has to visit a particular entity to get information of that entity. So this is a decentralization. Data is decentralized at particular entities. So what is the drawback of decentralization is, the first drawback is data cannot be delivered or get from the any particular entity, and second one is duplicated data may be entered. So reception and students have maintained same data. And next, class, library maintains student data. Okay, here same copy of data may be maintained at a particular entities. So what will happen? Same data is maintained at particular entities. For example, first to first academic year is starting, a student was admitted in particular BSc Computer Science course at reception. After 1 or 2 months, he shifted or transferred to BSc MPC or BCom course. Okay. The remaining entities are getting information from the reception. Okay. So class, student, library, etc. These entire information can be get from reception only. Okay. Library is getting information from the reception. So here there is a student joined in BSc Computer Science. The same copy is maintained in remaining entities also. So in library also the particular student is studying BSc Computer Science. So here the information of particular student is related to BSc Computer Science only. But after 2 months, the student transferred himself to the BCom course. But in library it was not changed. The same data is maintained. Okay. Here there is a major problem. If any of copies data maintained in remaining entities, you should change in that points also, that entities also. So this is what we call as a data redundancy and data inconsistency. Data redundancy means repetition of data. The student particulars is maintained at reception also, class, student, library, transportation. Okay. So if any changes occurred in reception, that means for there is an example, a student may change his mobile number, a student may change his course name, a student may change his specialization, etc. So that changes only can done in reception only. But what is the major problem is the same student data is in different way in remaining entities. So my dear students, you should remember one thing: if repetition occurred in various entities, if you change any one point of student data, the remaining entities data should also be changed. This is what we call inconsistency. Inconsistency means a particular student have admitted in 2 or more courses. Which is the correct one? So we have to check out one and more. So the major problem of decentralization is repetition of data and inconsistency of data. So here, to avoid these things, we introduce a centralized manner. We introduced centralized. Database management system is a centralized manner. Here, college maintains one server. Here we introduced a computer as one person. Server. Server maintains every entity, all entities of information at one point. That is centralization. So, what the drawbacks and errors, defects we face in decentralization can be overcome using centralized manner. So, we discussed 2 drawbacks. One is data redundancy and the second one is data inconsistency. So, let us check out whether they are overcome or not. When you centralize the data, any entity can share the data from the server. So, it's very easy. No need to maintain their own copy. Whether reception data, class data, student data, library data, whatever the information, whatever the entities in particular college, the entire data is stored in one point, likely server. So, any information can be get from the server at one point, that is centralized. But how can they get information from the server? That is a data sharing. So when you centralize the data, it is possible to share for various entities. So this is the easy way to overcome inconsistency. To no need to change each and every copy of data in various entities. Okay, so here database management system is a centralized manner, whereas data is maintained in one point, at one point. Due to avoid decentralization or due to avoid data redundancy and data inconsistency. Here repetition of data in various entities in decentralization manner is called as a data redundancy. When redundancy is occurred, data inconsistency will be occurred. So repetition of data is done. Whenever data is repeated, you have to change the same copy to avoid the inconsistency. If you want to maintain data consistent, consistent means one particular data gives one information only. A student is there, Ashok is joined in ABC, or Ashok is joined in BSc, or Ashok is joined in BCom. So no such duplicate information is occurred when you centralize the data. So what is the purpose of centralization? To share the data, to avoid the redundancy, to reduce the redundancy, and to avoid the data inconsistency, to maintain data consistency. And there is a major problem is security. When your data is decentralized, you can get information any entity. So reception, they are not willing to give the information about the student, like mobile number. You may get the information or the mobile number at library. So it is insecurity. So data may be revealed at any entity. That is a security problem. When you centralize the data, you may apply restrictions, rules or permissions, privileges for particular data. That's why data can be securely maintained. And next one is very, very important is data security. So data centralization, and next one is data reducing data redundancy, and third one is data consistency, and fourth one is very, very important, providing data security. So these are the major advantages in DBMS. So it is very effective backend software to maintain data valuable. Okay. Okay, thank you students. On the next session, we will discuss about the role and advantages of DBMS.